It was supposed to be our night, a celebration of 10 years together, a decade filled with love, laughter, trials, and triumphs. I had envisioned an evening we would cherish forever, a testament to everything we had built. Wanting it to be perfect, I arranged a private dinner at an elegant restaurant, inviting close friends, family, and a few people who had witnessed our journey from the beginning. This night was meant to be a reflection of our love, a moment we would one day look back on with warmth in our hearts. As the evening unfolded, I watched her, captivated by the way she laughed, the way she smiled, effortless, radiant. She looked stunning in the dress I had carefully chosen for her, an anniversary gift meant to make her feel as beautiful as I saw her. In that moment, my heart swelled with love and pride. I was convinced, beyond any doubt, that she was the love of my life. Then, something changed. It was subtle at first, a flicker of something in her eyes, a fleeting expression that didn't quite belong. Her gaze darted toward the entrance, her smile faltering for just a second. Anxiety clouded her features, a stark contrast to the joy she had been radiating mere moments ago. And then I saw him. He stepped into the restaurant with an air of confidence that made my stomach turn. Her ex-boyfriend. The man she had once loved before she chose me, before we built a life together. He was supposed to be a part of her past, a forgotten chapter in the story we had written together. My pulse quickened as I watched her move toward him, her steps unhesitating, as if drawn by an invisible force. The way her face lit up as they embraced sent a cold wave through my body. It wasn't just a greeting. It wasn't just a polite exchange. It was something deeper, something intimate. Her hand lingered on his shoulder just a second too long, her fingers curling ever so slightly, as though savoring the moment. I tried to dismiss the gnawing feeling in my gut, to tell myself I was overreacting. Maybe it was nostalgia, maybe it was just politeness. But the room had fallen silent. Our guests had noticed too. And then, it happened. Without hesitation, without shame, she leaned in and kissed him. Not a brief, meaningless peck. Not a mistake born of impulse. No, this was different. This was deliberate. A slow, intimate kiss that spoke of familiarity, of history, of a connection that should have been long buried. Time seemed to stretch, each second dragging on, each heartbeat a painful drumbeat in my chest. Gasps rippled through the room, whispers of disbelief filling the air. My own breath caught in my throat as I stood frozen, betrayal searing through my veins like fire. I wanted to look away, to blink and convince myself I had imagined it. But I hadn't. This was real. And then she pulled away. She didn't look guilty. She didn't even seem surprised. Instead, she let her gaze sweep across the room, her lips curving into the faintest smirk, as if she had won some twisted game. As if she had planned this, as if this moment, this cruel, humiliating spectacle, was her victory. The weight of 10 years came crashing down on me all at once. Every shared memory, every whispered I love you, every promise we had made, it all unraveled before my eyes. Whatever we had built, it was over. Without a word, without a scene, I grabbed my coat. I nodded once, to no one in particular, to everyone who had just witnessed my world shatter, and walked out. I didn't look back. I didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. The night air was sharp against my skin as I stepped outside, my mind numb, my heart a hollow ache. I had walked into that restaurant believing I was celebrating a love that had stood the test of time. Instead, I had walked out knowing that love had never truly been mine. The next morning, the weight of reality settled over me like an unbearable fog. I sat alone in the living room of the home we had shared, surrounded by ghosts of the life we had built. Pictures, souvenirs, pieces of a decade spent together. And yet, it all felt like a cruel illusion, a carefully crafted lie that had finally crumbled before my eyes. I had loved her with everything I had. But love, as I had just learned in the most brutal way, was never enough. I wasn't going to let her get away with what she had done. The betrayal, the humiliation. She had made her choices, and now she would face the consequences. I reached out to the best divorce attorney I could find, someone with a reputation for ensuring people like her walked away with nothing. It wasn't about revenge, it was about justice. It was about reclaiming the dignity she had so carelessly stripped away from me. In the weeks that followed, I devoted myself to protecting everything we had built together. our home, our savings, our investments. She wasn't going to take a cent more than what was absolutely required. Every attempt she made to reach out, to explain herself, to justify her actions, was met with silence. She had lost the right to a conversation the moment she decided to humiliate me in front of everyone we knew. She called. She texted. She even had the audacity to show up at my workplace, eyes pleading for me to listen. But I had nothing left to say. The divorce proceedings were brutal. She fought tooth and nail, insisting she deserved half of everything, trying to paint herself as a victim. But my lawyer was relentless. Every financial inconsistency, every questionable claim, every act of betrayal that had led us here was laid bare for the court to see. There was no escaping the truth, no twisting the narrative in her favor. She had gambled everything, believing she could walk away unscathed. She was wrong. I watched her closely in that final hearing, saw the color drain from her face as reality set in. She had destroyed everything for a fleeting moment of recklessness, and now she had nothing to show for it. A mere fraction of what she had hoped for, that was all she was left with. It wasn't just the money. It was the loss of the life she had once taken for granted, the security she had assumed would always be there. After the dust settled, she made one last desperate attempt. Her voice trembled as she apologized, pleaded, begged me to reconsider. She spoke of the good times, of the memories we had shared, of the future we could still have if only I would give her another chance. But I knew better. The woman I had loved, the one I had once trusted with my heart, no longer existed. What remained was a stranger, a shadow of someone I no longer recognized. I walked away from that final conversation with a sense of closure, a weight lifted from my shoulders. She had been left with nothing but the consequences of her own actions. And me. I had gained something far more valuable. Peace. True, undeniable peace. And with it, the knowledge that I had taken back control of my life, leaving her behind in the wreckage she had created.